Hey there everybody, Eric coming at you today with an EDC update video. In today's video I cover why I believe the Vanquest Falconer 27 is the ideal, if not ultimate, EDC backpack solution. Now this video comes at a very ironic time. I checked Vanquest's website today to get some more specific details on this bag, and I see now that it is no longer available. So a little bit of irony in that particular regard. I don't know what Vanquest's plan is. I don't know why this bag is no longer available, but fact of the matter is, this is what I'm currently using as my EDC, and I'm gonna share it with you today. There are other options from Vanquest that are very similar to this in a number of ways, so I might as well at least cover this particular bag, show you the specifics, and see if something like this would be a good option for you. Now I have to be honest, after finding out that this bag might no longer be an available option from Vanquest, I've lost a little bit of my mojo here, but at the same time, you know what, I gotta stay the course and show you what I'm carrying. Obviously there's some aspects that I have built into this particular bag that could be carried across a number of different bags. So whether it's Vanquest or Maxpedition, 511, any of these companies, it doesn't matter. Some of these principles will hold true whether or not you use this particular bag or another one. So in that regard, I'm going to go through the contents, show you how I've laid out this bag, and see if these solutions or options are something that you can adapt to your particular EDC everyday carry backpack. Now moving into the details, some of the fundamentals are trying to decide whether the contents that you've put in this bag are things that you need to get to extremely quickly and easily, or if it's things you can kind of wait until you get deeper into the bag to access. Well, in that regard, this particular bag kind of takes care of most of that solution, because the way I have built this, almost everything in this bag is readily available, and that to me was a real good reason why this particular bag worked out very nicely. And I'll start to show you some of those details. Now right off the get-go, the very front pocket on this particular bag is a pass-through design, so it allows you to reach in from either side. I could take or leave that function. To me, just having one zipper would have been okay. I would have liked this just as well if it was a horizontal zipper with things being accessed vertically, but at the same time, no big deal. I typically just throw my keys in here. They fit just fine. I have a few different sets for different purposes, and that to me is pretty much a place where I'll just throw my keys. You'll notice in this bag it is a high vis, so you end up with a nice color contrast. The bag in of itself is wolf gray, so Vanquest does have a very nice wolf gray color, and this orange accents off of that very nicely. Like most Vanquest products, these zippers are very easy. They're YKK zippers, and Vanquest uses an inverted zippers track, so you'll see that the actual zipper track is facing in. It adds a little bit of protection to the zipper so that you might not accidentally damage the teeth. Typical nice zipper pulls and nice easy action. Moving into the top of the bag, you'll see this shock cord. I've yet to really use this. You know, I could see me basically potentially strapping on a jacket or something like that. I mean, the only problem I have with this is that there is not a lot of extra shock cord, so it is pretty tight. I could probably fit maybe a hat or some gloves in there, or something similar in size to really fit a like a jacket or something like that. This would be quite tight in terms of my ability to get it in there, but at the same time, it's just at least worth having the shock cord on the front of the bag. Like other typical tactical bags, this does have a hook and loop field on the front to allow you to put your morale patches. I usually typically go with something a little bit subdued. Here you can see I have almost like a desert colored American flag. Just something to put on the front to kind of keep it interesting and differentiate my bag from somebody else's. Continuing on the front of this bag, this pouch here is where I keep some of the things that I know I'm going to go to almost every single day. Very simple items. My gum. I have a couple of spare batteries for my flashlights. And here I just have a couple of little spare inks, and I'll show you what I mean. I have this cool little retractable pen on my keychain, and this does have little refillable inks that go in it, and so I just have those in there, and I also have a small thumb drive in the event that I need it. Hopefully my ink doesn't leak all over my thumb drive and damage it, but I'm willing to run that risk. Continuing on, I have a little bit of redundancy here. Here I just have a little Swiss Army knife, my Leatherman juice, a Leatherman Micra, the typical mechanical pencil erasers that make it with me every single time, yet I don't have a mechanical pencil in my bag. The leads for the mechanical pencil that I don't have in my bag. Here I have chapstick, small little nail file, a Bic lighter, another thumb drive. This one's actually a little bigger than the one that I typically use. My Dunkin' Donuts gift card. Some lens wipes. And my camo butane Zippo. Now, like some of the other pouches that I'll show you in this bag, this does have the high vis on the inside. That's a very nice feature. I like how it looks. It's a great tone against this gray. Really allows you to see your contents quite nicely. And you'll probably notice that even when the camera was back on the tripod, that you could see the contents in this bag pretty well even from a distance. So I do very much enjoy this high vis that Vanquest uses. I think it's an excellent touch. It's perfect for an EDC bag and the ability to really see what contents you have in the bag. And so that works very nicely, especially on a pouch like this. So just showing you a little more detail on this pouch. You do have this pocket on the back side of the pouch. Here you have some bungee elastic style retention straps. Basically a big open pocket area here. And then finally an additional pocket on this side. One of the things that caught me a little bit by surprise, and I'm not sure if this is just how this bag is made or if I potentially got a second quality bag. I did buy this as part of Vanquest fire sale, and I know that some of their products weren't 100% perfect bags. They had a little bit of a flaw in them, and what I found was this has a tab. So this tab here that you can see is actually part of this outer molly strap poking through, and it caught me by surprise. That is quite sharp on the corners here. Now I don't know if again that is by accident or if this is just the way it's designed, but it is on both sides here. It's kind of unfinished looking. It is quite sharp, and it caught me literally the first time I opened this pocket a little bit by surprise. So just something to note. Again, I don't know if it's that this bag is manufactured that way as a typical way of building it, or if I just happened to get one that was a secondhand quality bag. Now moving on to one of the features that makes this bag extremely unique, and in my opinion, one of the reasons why this was such an excellent EDC option. I hope Vanquest continues to use this particular design in more bags in the future, because this feature right here is excellent. If you look at the way that this particular pouch opens up, this is a full clamshell opening. It's going to display all of your contents very nicely, give you a great organization, and in my opinion, the reason why I carry an EDC is to have some tools with me, and this is a perfect way to organize them and display them in your bag for easy access. So the items I have in here right now are basically a Leatherman fuse, which you don't see this too much in a lot of reviews. I happen to like the Leatherman fuse. This was given to me as a gift. I've had it for a long time, and it's been a great little Leatherman for me. I do have another Leatherman, the Leatherman Charge TI, that for whatever reason I just can't find it. It would typically be in my EDC. I've put it somewhere and unfortunately misplaced it, so this fuse is taking the place right now. So this does ride in my EDC bag, and that is my current multi-tool. As I mentioned, I do have the Charge TI, which has the ability to use multiple bits. So I do carry these with me. Unfortunately, right now, I'm basically unable to use them as the fuse does not allow to use these bits, but I carry them in here in the event that I am going to find my Charge one of these days and get it back into my bag. Now with that said, with the inability to actually use my multi-tool, I do have this small little screwdriver. This actually allows me to use different bits, and so you'll see here, I've made these little containers to hold bits, and that's what I have in here. So I do have the ability to use multiple bits in this small little driver. This is kind of taking the place of my Leatherman charge right now. In a similar fashion, this little Altoids tin here has a variety of different things. This has some different bits. I actually just have a little drill bit, and I have some X-Acto knife blades. So the blades actually come in pretty handy. I do have an X-Acto knife on me. It's nice to have just a little precision tool if you need it. Sometimes you'll find maybe you need to dig something out, or you need to do a little fine task. Having something like a small, thin X-Acto knife blade is quite handy and a good thing to have in your EDC. This is a nice, long driver bit, basically an extension. So if I need to and I need to get into a tight place, I have this with me. You know, part of the reason why I carry some of the things I do is just I'm so sick of going to people's houses and they don't have the right stuff to do the certain job. And so I have a couple of the funny little nuanced things that I know a lot of people don't have, but I have it with me. And a lot of times I find it kind of saves the day. Moving on, I do have the driver for the Leatherman charge. And here I have a couple of paracord needles. I find a lot of times I do little projects and I need to make something with paracord, so to have little paracord needles is kind of a nice thing. If you don't have these and you're into paracord, I suggest you pick them up. Super cheap money, easy to use, and worth having. So I already talked to you about the bits. And here I have some matches. I used to have another one of these that I made that had needles. And basically it was like sewing needles and safety pins and things like that. I can't find it, unfortunately, as time goes on. You know, I've been carrying EDCs now for months and months. I mean, I'm getting into years. And at this point, I've started to lose some of the little things that I used to put in my system. And that's actually a key point, is that you know, you need to really be dedicated to keeping the equipment that you're supposed to be keeping in your EDC actually in your EDC. When you start getting sloppy and swapping all the stuff from this into other systems and you forget what you were supposed to have and not have and you lose track of it, well, that becomes a problem. And that's kind of where I'm getting today. So these EDCs can be a double-edged sword sometimes. Moving on, I'd like to slide out these couple of containers, but I think I'll give you a quick little close-up so you can see kind of what I have in here. So these containers here are a unique little solution that I made. Basically, I took some PVC pipe and turned these into little canisters to hold a couple of different types of items. In this particular one, I have a whole set of files. You might not think a file would be something that you need regularly, but I'll tell you, when you do need it, it's actually pretty nice to have it. So I have different sets of files here, flat files, round files, pointed ones, square ones, and these have come into play a number of different times. Basically, I just took a piece of 1/2-inch PVC pipe, painted it the way I wanted, added a couple of caps, popped the cover on, and made a tiny little paracord handle. Works out pretty nice. And in a similar fashion, this case here has a whole bunch of little picks, hooks. Almost looks like dental tools, but they're not. Basically, I use these to dig out things out of tough little areas, scrape things, clean things, get into all these tight, tiny little spots that you otherwise can't really get into. It seems like something that might not be worth carrying, but once you have them and you use them and you know that you have them, it is very worth it. So very similar in the same fashion as that other case. Basically the 1/2-inch PVC pipe, painted it the way I wanted. Little cap, little pull string, voila. And just finally in this pouch, you'll see I have some precision screwdrivers. Nice little set, many different sizes. Obviously the ability to maintain sunglasses, glasses, things like that. Any small items that need a small screwdriver. I have a ton of kids' toys I'm always trying to get the batteries out of, and it needs these almost every single time. So just an excellent addition to have in your EDC.